Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to this brand new episode of Hockeytown Rundown. You're here with me, your beautiful host, once again, Zach. I am Carlo Less today. Happy Father's Day to you, buddy, and to all the fathers out there. I was able to spend some time with my dad today, got to hang out with the dogs, got some good eating done. I hope everyone else got to do the same thing. So once again, happy Father's Day to all those that are dads, dog dads, human dads, whatever kind of dad you are, you matter, and we appreciate all the great things that you do for us in our lives. So, and touching on this episode, thank you for joining us once again on this brand new episode. We truly do appreciate it. If you are returning, thanks for joining us once again. If you are brand new, thanks for stopping by. We truly do appreciate it. In the meantime, why don't you go ahead and take a second, the moment, to go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and then hit that notification bell. If you are viewing or listening to this on Spotify, yes, you can watch and listen at the same time if you wanted to on Spotify. Why don't you go ahead and rate us the 5 stars, hit that follow button, and over on Apple Podcasts as well, go ahead and hit that follow button and rate us the 5 stars. That truly does help us out grow and pushes us further to create this great content for you guys, the viewers, watchers, listeners, and Detroit Red Wings fans alike. You can also follow us on all of our social medias. We're on all major platforms now: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Carlo is doing a fantastic job over on the TikTok side of things. We have lots of engagement from you guys. We noticed an uptick on the followers out there. So we truly do appreciate all the great work and the love and support that you guys are showing to us. Without you guys, we would not be here today. And what do we got in store in this episode? Well, we wanted to hear from you, the Detroit Red Wings fans, with you guys submitting your own mock trades for the Detroit Red Wings this upcoming offseason, with the NHL Draft just right around the corner, about 2 weeks from now. And then free agency on July 1st is right around the corner as well. And so there's a lot of things being dropped around, a lot of rumors going around. And so I wanted to hear, and so did Carlo, hear from you guys, your submitted mock trades. And so that's what we will be doing this episode. And why don't we just go ahead and jump right into it, shall we? The first one is going to be from Red Wings Muse over on Twitter. And in this trade, it involves the Dallas Stars once again kind of following suit with us on our last episode, talking about Jason Robertson and how Steve Yzerman and general manager Jim Nill could reconnect this offseason, this summer, and try to make a deal done with the Dallas Stars, looking to create more cap space. They're looking to garner back a lot of the picks, some of the picks even, that they used towards the Mikko Rantanen trade. And in this trade, you have Jason Robertson going over to the Detroit Red Wings in exchange for center prospect Nate Danielson, right wing forward Vladimir Tarasenko, and then center player as well, JT Compher, along with the 2025 first round pick and the 2026 first round pick. With this one, I feel like that the Dallas Stars would say no. With this one, the Detroit Red Wings would say yes. For obvious reasons, Red Wings are getting Jason Robertson. They're moving on from the cap hit of Vladimir Tarasenko. They're moving on from JT Compher for the next 3 years as well. And then you give up the 13th overall pick in this year's draft, and then whatever the 2026 first round pick would be. And I say no for the Dallas Stars and Jim Nill, only because you have to take on the full cap hits of Vladimir Tarasenko and JT Compher. And I just don't think that a Nate Danielson and the 2 first round picks would get it done. Granted, the 2025 first round pick is number 13 overall in this draft, right? But including the 2026 first round pick, that is a much deeper draft than this upcoming draft. And so maybe the Dallas Stars think about it for a second, but I do believe that they would say no, and then you could kind of tinker around things a little bit here and try to make a deal done if possible, right? So, and in between ours and this one, you know, the only difference is that you don't have a Mason Marchment in here. So once again, I don't believe that the Dallas Stars would be interested in this. And so because of that, I do not believe that this is a deal that gets done. Now in this trade, we're going to be moving over to the Vegas Golden Knights. It's a terrible unkept secret that the Vegas Golden Knights need to clear some cap space, and they don't have enough to re-sign the restricted free agent and Nicholas Hague, who has been leaked to the Detroit Red Wings via the rumors that have been circling around on the internet right now. And within this trade, you do have the Detroit Red Wings getting Nicholas Hague in return for Vladimir Tarasenko at his full cap hit and a 2025 second round pick. Now, the only reason why I don't believe that this deal would actually get done is because the Vegas Golden Knights, like I said, they're looking to clear cap space, and I don't believe that the $4.75 million is going to do them any favors. While I do like the fact that you are attaching a second round pick with that, I still don't believe that this deal actually gets done. I do believe that you may have to retain some cap, maybe up to 50% on the Vladimir Tarasenko for that year. And then obviously with Nicholas Hague, you have to make sure that you are getting an extension done with him no matter what, right? And so with that being said, I don't think that this deal gets done. But I do think that the Vegas Golden Knights actually entertain this if Steve Yzerman is willing to recoup some of that cap from Vladimir Tarasenko, or if you include a different type of player, maybe like Michael Rasmussen. So for this trade, I will say no deal, but we're very close. We're getting very close to these deals, right? And so I do think with a little bit of tinkering, you can get something done close to this. Now in this trade, we're moving over to the Vancouver Canucks involving JT Compher going over to the Vancouver Canucks, and the Detroit Red Wings receiving a 2025 second round pick and a 2026 fourth round pick. I am one of the many few that actually does believe that JT Compher is a serviceable player if he were to go to a different team. I do believe that he actually has value. He does bring veteran leadership, and he has won a Stanley Cup with the Colorado Avalanche. And going back over to the Western Conference, maybe that makes a difference for him and helping out players like an Elias Peterson and some of their other young players as well, and hope that they can actually make it to the Stanley Cup playoffs this upcoming season, because them missing it with players like Quinn Hughes and Philip Hronek on such big contracts, and even Elias Peterson, something's got to give here. And so I am a little hesitant at this. I think maybe you would be more able to, for Vancouver side, you could just remove the second round pick for this upcoming season and just do it for a fourth. But with the 3 years left, it's going to be very hard for Vancouver to say yes to something like this. If JT Compher maybe had 2 more years left at that salary cap, I think this deal could get done just for a fourth. I do believe that, once again, JT Compher is a serviceable player, but because of the way that he has played as of late under his Red Wings tenure, I don't see how you can get this much out of someone like JT Compher. But who knows? Maybe Vancouver's just in that weird spot where they are trying to retool on the fly and make sure that they can keep their players like the Quinn Hughes and the Elias Petterssons, because before it's too late, they're going to be asking and requesting for trades. Shout out to Adam Kerr for actually submitting both of those trades over on Twitter as well. Thank you very much, my friend. Now moving over to the Winnipeg Jets. This trade was submitted by Jarrett over on Twitter as well. We had a lot of fans over on Twitter submitting their ideas on what a mock trade could look like, and inserting a Kyle Connor going over to the Detroit Red Wings. The Detroit Red Wings would receive Kyle Connor, and in return, the Winnipeg Jets would receive the rights to restricted free agent Jonathan Berggren, center prospect Nate Danielson, and then center forward for the Detroit Red Wings, JT Compher. I don't think that this is anywhere close to getting a Kyle Connor in his services. Now, granted, if Kyle Connor does tell Winnipeg that, hey, I'm not going to re-sign with you, there's no way, there's no opportunity there, or unless he said, you absolutely have to trade me to the Detroit Red Wings, that's it, said and done. Maybe something like this would get done, right? Because you're getting pretty much 3 players that could be ready for them to insert into the lineup, minus Nate Danielson maybe in a year, but within year 2, now you got 3 players that you can insert in your lineup to replace that Kyle Connor, and on top of all their younger prospects as well that they have within their system. I think a trade like this could get done if Kyle Connor did go in that situation where he requests a trade that's only to the Detroit Red Wings, very similar to an Alex DeBrincat type of situation. Disregarding all of that, if this was just straight up Kyle Connor not saying anything, I don't think that this is anywhere enough. I do think that this would be a deal if all that stuff happened, but if none of that happened, I would say that this is no deal. Now moving over to the New York Islanders, this one is actually pretty interesting. The Detroit Red Wings would receive the rights to RFA Noah Dobson and then forward Kyle Palmieri and his 2 years, $4.75 million contract in exchange for the rights to restricted free agent Jonathan Berggren, defenseman Justin Hall, and his $3.4 million cap hit with 1 year left, a 2025 first round pick, which is the 13th overall pick, and then the Detroit Red Wings 2026 second round pick. This trade was submitted by UAP Dude over on Twitter, and this one, it really comes down to the same thing, almost like Kyle Connor, where Noah Dobson basically has to say, hey, I'm not willing to re-sign with the New York Islanders. I don't want to go into a rebuild team And then with Kyle Palmieri, that would just be something that you add on top of Noah Dobson because the New York Islanders maybe are looking for a little bit more cap space and flexibility and get a little bit younger and lose that veteran type of guy, right? And so for the Detroit Red Wings, I don't feel like that this would be enough for a player at the caliber of Noah Dobson. I do believe that Kyle Palmieri could actually bring some serviceable duties for the Detroit Red Wings, being a veteran in the NHL, right? And especially if the Detroit Red Wings, for some reason, don't re-sign Patrick Kane, that's an open spot for a veteran that you could insert in here, right? And so to me, the New York Islanders would say no, that this deal does not get done. For the Detroit Red Wings, they would obviously say yes to this. But with Noah Dobson being a right-handed defenseman as well, he more than likely probably wants to be that top guy, right? But I would love for the Red Wings to have both Moritz Seider and Noah Dobson on that right side for the near future and moving forward, right? But unfortunately, this deal does not get done. It is a no deal. Now we're going back over to the Vegas Golden Knights, and this trade was submitted by Dennis Chalowski fan over on Twitter as well. And in this one, you have Nicholas Hague and his RFA rights, along with Ivan Barbashev and his 3 years and $5 million cap hit going over to the Detroit Red Wings in exchange for forward Michael Rasmussen, his $3.2 million cap hit for 3 more years. Defensive prospect, I should say, Shai Buium, and then the 2025 third round pick that is technically the New York Rangers that the Red Wings acquired a while ago. And so something like this, I actually like this deal. I think both sides actually consider this. I think that this would be a deal. Maybe the Red Wings have to make that third round pick into a second round pick, whether that's 25 or 26. I actually do believe that the Vegas Golden Knights would accept something like this because now you're bringing down their cap hit even more, and then you're helping them out to release some of that cap, and you're giving them a good forward in Michael Rasmussen. Granted, I know a lot of Red Wings fans have been hypercritical on someone like Michael Rasmussen. Maybe that's just the territory that comes with it when you're a former first round pick. Former top 10 first round pick, right? And so Michael Rasmussen does bring a lot of grit. He does bring a lot of forechecking and a lot of hitting. And so I think that the Vegas Golden Knights would love adding a player like that, and then also adding a defensive prospect like Shai Buium, who has shined in his first pro season with the Grand Rapids Griffins. And then adding that third pick is a little bit of sweetener. I actually like this deal, and I think that this is a deal between both sides that could get done. Maybe the Vegas Golden Knights ask for a second, and I don't think that the Red Wings actually freak out about that, and they actually are willing to do something like that to get these two players that can help them out and be serviceable players moving forward in both the defensive end and the forward end. And in this trade, going over to the Buffalo Sabres, submitted by our good friend, former co-host Matt Leslie. Thanks, good buddy, for submitting this trade with John Jason Peterka going over to the Detroit Red Wings in exchange for forward prospect Michael Branzig-Nygaard, forward Michael Rasmussen, his $3.2 million cap hit, 3 years remaining on it, and this year's first round pick in 2025, 13th overall pick. This one I'm actually very curious about because I think this deal is very close to being a yes from both sides, because it is apparent that John Jason Peterka is not satisfied with what has been going on with the Buffalo Sabres. Apparently he does not feel like that they're doing a very good job over there and probably wants to leave. And I really don't blame him. Seems like that's the common theme with the Buffalo Sabres, right? But I do think that you would have to add maybe like a second in there. I do know that they are looking for ready now players, so you might have to add in one more player to make that happen for them. But I think you are very close. I think with this, I would consider it a deal as of right now, but there would still be some tinkering involved that comes into play with that. Now we're going to be moving over to the Washington Capitals, and this trade was submitted by Double A Greek Guy over on YouTube, and he proposed the Detroit Red Wings sending over Vladimir Tarasenko with 50% of his salary cap retained for a 2025 third round pick that is the Carolina Hurricanes pick. And with this, it's a little bit hard to stomach taking on that cap hit that you would have to retain for Vladimir Tarasenko, but there are people out there that do believe actually that you would have to give up something to move on from Tarasenko. So would you rather take on half of his cap and get a third round pick for it, or would you rather have to add a third round pick to move Tarasenko in his full cap hit. And with this, I would actually consider it a deal on both sides. I think the Washington Capitals would be more than happy to include another Russian player to play alongside, potentially play alongside with someone like Alexander Ovechkin and be good friends talking in Russian and all that good stuff. And then the Red Wings, in this case, they at least get the third round pick. They just got to retain some cap and open up that forward spot for someone. Maybe that's a prospect or a unrestricted free agent, or they go out and get someone via trade still to fill that spot. But once again, I do consider this a deal for both sides. And in this trade, we will be heading back over to the Dallas Stars, dealing with Jim Nill once again, dealing Jason Robertson over to the Detroit Red Wings in exchange for forward prospect Carter Mazur, forward player Michael Rasmussen, and the rights to center prospect Nauer Diller Nilsson, as well as the 2026 first round pick and the 2027 first round pick, both owned by the Detroit Red Wings. And this one is actually very, very close. You're giving them someone like Michael Rasmussen, who is gritty, plays forecheck, like I mentioned earlier. You're giving them two prospects, Carter Mazur, they could see maybe fitting in there right away, right? And then Noah Diller Nilsson, not really sure when he plans on making his jump over into North America, but that is a prospect for them that they can utilize down the line if they want to, right? And then they get the two picks, right? They get to recoup more for what they used in the Mikko Rantanen deal. And so I think this is very close. Need a little bit of tinkering, but for this one, I would say that this is a good starting point and would consider it a deal for both sides. And shout out to Yzer T Swizzle over on Twitter for submitting that one. Thank you, my friend. Now we're going to move over to the Colorado Avalanche for the last one. And this one is very interesting, to say the least. And it involves forward player Martin Necas, who was just dealt to the Colorado Avalanche involving the Mikko Rantanen trade. The first Mikko Rantanen trade that happened. Yes, he got traded twice within a span of like a month almost. It was pretty crazy to see happen, actually. And in exchange, the Detroit Red Wings are trading away forward prospect Nate Danielson, forward Vladimir Tarasenko, and this year's 2025 first round pick that will be the 13th overall pick in this year's draft. I'm going to say that this is a no deal. It's already been put out there that on paper, Colorado is very happy with the way that their roster is constructed and looking so far. And Martin Necas being on that team definitely will help them push making it to the playoffs and making a deep run. Hopefully for their sake, though, they don't run into the same issue as they did with Mikko Rantanen, where Necas won't commit to signing an extension come closer to trade deadline, and they will have to force to trade him. I do think that you would have to add a little bit more here, maybe a second, maybe another prospect or a ready now player that is a serviceable player. But I think you are very close. But for this deal, I am going to say that it is not a deal, and Colorado declines. But for the Red Wings, they would happily accept this kind of deal. And so from there, thank you to everyone who submitted all their mock trades. We truly do appreciate it. This was a lot of fun, and I know it can be nerve-wracking sometimes to actually go out there and put this out there, but we really do appreciate the engagement. That's what makes us fun. That's what makes us do these episodes, right? And we want to do more of these moving forward. So be engaged with us. Go ahead and leave us a comment down below and let us know what you thought about this episode as well. While you're at it, why don't you go ahead and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell too, so you know when these brand new episodes come out. Why don't you go ahead and make your way over to Spotify, hit that follow button, rate us the 5 stars, do the same thing over on Apple Podcasts. Make sure that you're following us on all your major social media platforms like the Facebooks, the Twitters, the Instagrams, and the TikToks. We're doing a lot of great things, and we want to make sure that you guys are covered with all your Red Wings insights and information and knowledge. And from here, I'll let you guys go. Enjoy Father's Day once again. Thanks to all the dads out there. And until next time, we'll see y'all on the next one. See ya. Love you. Bye.